Well, hey there, pharmacy owners. Dr. Lisa Faast here, and I want to talk to you today about the secret of implementation. And those of you who are listening to the audio did not see my air quotes around the secret because I've been asking for some feedback from our members and some members of our Facebook community and pharmacy owners in general. And the number one thing that I get asked about or for help with is to implement new programs, how to start a new revenue stream, how to do this thing. And I wish there was some easy, like, here's this 4-step process on how you implement answer to that. I would probably be a very wealthy woman if that were the case. But honestly, especially within the confines of an independent pharmacy, it's not just as simple as that. I'll tell you what you don't want to hear. The reason that I'm talking to you pharmacy owners or your pharmacy owner employees have trouble implementing is because you're trying to do too much. I guarantee it. All of you know how to implement. All of you know how to start something, complete it, problem solve. You cannot be a pharmacy owner or even an independent pharmacy employee and not have the skill set to problem solve and figure stuff out. The problem is we all try to do too much. You try to, implement 10 different programs at once. You assign every individual person their own thing, and they're all trying to implement their own thing. And it just is just too much. I think the other part of why we fail in that is we don't set aside time to do the hard work. Implementing and starting anything is hard work. The analogy or whatever the correct word is, getting the freight train out of the station. Freight trains move so slow out of the station, and then once they're going, they're unstoppable. It's hard to stop. That all of that energy that you have to put in to start that freight train, you have to set it aside. Implementation of new programs does not happen by accident. So if I had to say any secret to implementation, I get asked, like, how do I get so much stuff done? You can't let it happen by accident. You have to create a structure or a system that allows for the hard work of implementing and starting something new. If you want to start offering cash-based services like, functional medicine testing, or bring in a new supplement that offers testing, like, my faves, like AMS's nitric oxide or J Infinity's NAD or something like that. Those aren't hard things to do. But you do have to set aside a little bit of time and think about them. Look at their costs. How much do you want to sell it for? Do you want to bundle together with any services? Where are you going to put it in your pharmacy? How are you going to market it? These kinds of questions, they're not hard questions, but it's kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. There's a whole bunch of steps on that journey to implementing something. And I guarantee you all have the skills to do it. You just get overwhelmed with the 1,000 other things or the 10 programs that you want to implement. And so I think that's the most important thing. Prune down your priority list. I call it ruthless prioritization. Those of you who are Pharmacy Badass University members, I've got tons of training on time management and prioritization inside the membership. So go to the membership and look there. If you need any help with that, obviously message me. But it's a combination of prioritizing, right? Like, you can only be doing one thing, and it can only be the one big thing. Obviously, you're always working on the operations of your business. You're filling the prescriptions and you're doing the minimum to keep the doors open. But when you start talking about doing above and beyond, there really can only be one thing. And sometimes when you have a well-trained staff and they're used to implementing things, you can start to give one person this thing and another person that thing. And so in effect, you're having multiple things implemented at one time. But the problem is too many people try to start there, right? It's kind of like people who look at the Amazon and be like, I'm going to be Amazon and I'm going to start there. But they forget how Amazon really started, right? And so you look at all these people out there that are master implementers. Even myself, I can do a lot of things at once and I'm really good at it, because I've had decades of figuring out how to do that. I didn't start there, and I certainly didn't start successfully there. I had to fail a lot first and figure it out. So start at the beginning. Start with just one. Get your whole team involved in implementing that one thing. then do it again, and then do it again. And then eventually everybody's going to level up their skill set to where you will be able to have multiple things happening in the pharmacy at a time. On the flip side of that, once you prioritize and prune your order of what you want to do, you need to set aside time for that to happen. Even if you have a wonderful staff, operations of the pharmacy will fill up the day if you let it fill up the day. Start setting aside where, technician one gets this hour away from the bench to go work on the project, or they get a half hour away. Maybe they get a half hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and technician two gets a half hour on Wednesdays and Fridays. Like, whatever it be, set up a plan to allow that space for the work to be done, because the work will not be done by accident, and certainly not the hard work, right? Like, the hard work is the freight train out of the station, and that's where you've got to think about what you want to do and answer all those little tiny questions that need to be figured out. Once that's done, kind of the actual implementation part is a lot easier. It's not such a heavy lift. So you have to create the space to allow that to happen. Now, if you're the only pharmacist on the bench and maybe got one technician or one clerk or something, that time, it might come in two ways. It might come during slow period, right? Like Wednesdays at 1 o'clock is dead in the pharmacy. I'm going to go, put my blinders on and figure this out. Or, maybe it's a weekend when you're closed, or in the evening when you're at home, or something like that. Like, you have to set aside the time for that work to happen. As you get busier and your team gets larger, one of the best things that you can do as that leader, that CEO, is to help them structure their days so that they do carve out time. And the whole team knows. They know that, Tammy on Tuesdays at 11:30 is going to step away from the workflow. And it's not because she's not doing her work. It's because she's working on another project or working on, the other goals. And so the secret to implementation is kind of simple, in the sense that there really is no secret, but you have to prune your priorities. You have to prune your to-do list, get it narrowed down to, like, what's the one thing that we're going to be working on right now? I always talk about it in the profit lasagna. If you want to make a lasagna, the beauty of a lasagna is the layers, right? If you took all the same ingredients in lasagna and just threw it in a pot or threw it in a dish, it would be something, but it wouldn't be a lasagna. Same kind of thing when you're implementing stuff in a pharmacy. Like, you have to do it in layers, right? Like, one at a time, and then you do the next one, and then you do the next one. So you're saying no to the top layers, but it's not no forever. It's just no until I'm ready for you. Another way to think about it is dominoes, right? If you set up a beautiful, intricate domino thing, you don't just go to the middle and, try to get them all fall at once. That's actually not the beauty of it, right? You topple the first one and it becomes a sequential thing. So it's not to say that your to-do list should not all be done. It probably should. They're all great ideas, and God knows we need all the help we can get as independent pharmacy owners. But the thing is you can only do one domino at a time. You can only do one layer at a time. And so that's the secret. Prune it down, figure out what is the next thing you need to do, and then do it on purpose. Don't expect to let it happen by accident. It will not happen. It will not. If you just tell your technicians, just work on this thing whenever you gals have time, they're never going to have time. Come Friday at 5 p.m., they're just like, man, we were just busy all week. And you're like, you look at the numbers and you're like, we did, 200 less prescriptions this week. Well, we were busy. There's just a lot of problems, a lot of talking, whatever the case may be. So it won't happen by accident. Implementation will not happen by accident. That's a life lesson I've learned. So prune it down, set aside the time to work on it, and you'll probably be amazed of how much shit you get done. All right. That is how you become a super implementer. At least that's my secret, right? That's how I do stuff. My to-do list is never ending. I think it only grows. It's kind of like you cut the head off and, two grow. But that's how I continuously just keep doing stuff, is what's the one next thing that I have to do? Then you do the next one, then you do the next one, and eventually you've got this beautiful chain of things that have been implemented. I think the other side of that is the more you do it, the more you get better at it. And so another reason for pruning it down and just focusing on one is you're not going to overwhelm yourself and you're not going to overwhelm your staff, right? If somebody were training for a marathon and it's day one of training, they don't go out and run a marathon, right? Like they die, right? So you run a mile the first day, you walk a mile the first day. You don't go running 26 miles. And so same thing with implementation is you don't all of a sudden get so excited. You binge watch a bunch of my videos and you get a bunch of ideas and you're like, we're implementing these 10 things. And it sounds a little crazy when I say it, but that's what we all do. Like most of us that are entrepreneurs, we're visionaries. We're, professional ADD people. Like we just want to do everything. We want to save our pharmacies. We so craving a profit. And so we're like, we're just going to do all this stuff. But you're not trained. You're not ready for a marathon. Your staff's not ready for a marathon. They need to start out with walking the mile first. And so it's actually why in another video I talked about the program that I love implementing in every single pharmacy is the thank you card program, because it's like training. It's like the walking the mile. So you learn how to implement something. So hopefully that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or put in the comments below wherever you're watching or listening to this. And hopefully this will help you in terms of thinking about implementation. And I want you to get stuff done. I want you to change, and I want you to grow, and I want you to be more profitable. So that's it. And if you want any information on Pharmacy Badass University, feel free to head over to our website. We are on a mission to grow to 1,000 members by the end of this year. And it is, honestly, I think it's a no-brainer. Even at our lowest levels, the discounts that you get access to as a member actually pay your membership fee. Like you're already broken even without all the other stuff that you get. So to me, it's the absolute no-brainer decision for any pharmacy owner, but happy to answer any questions about that too. So until next time, guys, adios. Bye-bye.